This is base Set Charizard, easily the most iconic Pokemon card to have ever existed. For as long as this Pokemon TCG has existed, people have wanted this card in their collection, and honestly, I can't say I wouldn't want one myself. It's a beautiful card with amazing artwork of a fan favorite Pokemon. Plus, it's one of the best cards in a base set competitively. I mean, it has to be, right? It's Charizard after all, one of the most expensive Pokemon cards in existence. Look at that huge HP number, the massive damage it deals with its attack. Surely this card has to be as popular as it is because it was a staple for people that played TCG in the late 90s, right? Well, actually, no. Turns out that despite its high monetary value, base set Charizard was never a viable option for a real competitive TCG deck. In fact, up until recently, nearly every Charizard card printed had next to no relevance in TCG metas. That is until recently, with the release of Obsidian Flames. This pack contains Charizard EX, a card that is not only viable, but is currently a metagame changing card. But before we discuss why one card is used in top 10 decks, whereas the other was a dud, we need to have an understanding of the Pokemon TCG. The Pokemon TCG is actually a fairly simple game. In the TCG, you have an active spot where the Pokemon that is currently battling goes. You'll also have access to your bench, where you can place up to 5 other Pokemon into play, getting them ready for future use, or using them for their abilities. In addition, you'll place 6 cards from the top of your deck face down as prize cards. Each time you get a KO on an opponent's Pokemon, you take one of your prize cards and add it to your hand. The Pokemon TCG also has an energy card system, which is similar to Magic the Gathering's lands. Each attack on a Pokemon has a dedicated energy cost. In order to use that attack, a Pokemon must have those specific energies attached to it. For example, Miraidon EX from the Scarlet and Violet pack has the attack Photon Blaster, dealing 220 damage with an energy cost of 2 lightning energies and 1 colorless energy. If Miraidon EX doesn't have these energies attached to it, Miraidon can't use its Photon Blaster attack. This means that attaching energy cards is crucial in the TCG. However, players are limited to only being allowed to attach 1 energy card to their Pokemon from their hand per turn. Lastly, there's a Pokemon's type to take into consideration. Just like each Pokemon has a type in the main games, each Pokemon in the TCG will also be represented by a specific energy type. Each energy can represent multiple types, such as water energy representing either water or ice types, or fighting energies, which can represent fighting, rock, or ground types. Typing is important, as most Pokemon will contain a weakness to specific energy types found at the bottom of the card. A Pokemon with a weakness will take double damage from an attacking Pokemon if that attacking Pokemon is the same type as the defender's weakness. For example, the common Chi-Pao EX card is represented by water energy due to its actual ice typing. As an ice type Pokemon, Chi-Pao EX has a weakness to the steel type in the mainline games, represented by the metal energy in TCG. This means that Chi-Pao EX takes double damage from metal energy Pokemon such as Scizor or Melmetal EX. With the basics out of the way, we can look at what attributes can make a Pokemon more competitive than its peers. For starters, you of course want your Pokemon to be able to deal a lot of damage, at least equal to common HP benchmarks such as 220, 280, or 330 HP as of this video's recording. This takes us into the next aspect of a strong card, its HP value. Pokemon that want to be in the active spot should generally have high HP, allowing them to survive most or even all attacks that come their way. Surviving attacks is crucial, as it allows you to retaliate with the Pokemon that took the hit, or allows you to retreat that Pokemon to your bench, helping prevent your opponent from taking prize cards. The other aspect of a strong attacker is energy cost. Pokemon with lower energy costs will generally be better attackers. An attack with high energy cost needs to have higher than usual damage output, or at least have other effects on it to make it worth the high energy cost. Pokemon with higher energy costs also need a form of energy acceleration present in the deck. Lastly, meta Pokemon don't need to be attackers. Some of the best Pokemon in the game are ones that have useful abilities, which don't need to be limited to forms of energy acceleration. For example, Obsidian Flames Pidgeot EX is currently finding its way into decks due to its quick search ability, allowing you to search your deck for any card and add it to your hand once per turn. Other Pokemon like Brilliant Star's Manaphy can protect your benched Pokemon from taking any damage. These abilities make these cards staples in the current meta. Now let's take a close look at the base set Charizard so we can see where exactly it falls short competitively. The first thing we can look at is Charizard's HP sitting at 120. In the present day, this number is nothing special, especially on a stage 2 Pokemon, but back then, Charizard's 120 HP was actually the highest HP stat in the game, shared with only Chansey. Charizard's Fire Spin attack was also the single strongest attack in the game at a massive 100 damage, enough to one-hit KO any Pokemon in the game at the time, other than Charizard's and Chansey. Charizard also has a Pokepower, but that's where the issues begin. Charizard's Energy Burn is an ability that only benefits Charizard itself, turning all energy attached to it into fire energy. While this might seem like a good ability on paper, in reality, it's a weak ability due to Charizard's next issue, his massive energy cost, coupled with a lack of energy acceleration for fire types in the early days of the TCG. On top of this, Charizard has to discard 2 energies in order to use Fire Spin in the first place, making it harder to attack on consecutive turns. As for its typing, Fire wasn't exactly the best type for a Pokemon to have in the early TCG days. This is largely due to Fire types having a weakness to Water, making them take double damage from one of the best archetypes of the early days, Rain Dance. Due to Blastoise's Rain Dance Pokepower, Water-type attackers such as Dugong and Gyarados were quick and easy to set up as soon as Blastoise came into play. This meant that not only was Charizard being held back by its lack of energy acceleration, it also lost badly to the best energy acceleration archetype of the time. Charizard did have a useful resistance to fighting types, making it a good choice against the omnipresent Hitmonchan, but this resistance wasn't shared by Charmander or Charmeleon, which would themselves struggle against Hitmonchan. So where does Paldea Evolved Charizard EX get things right? Well, for starters, Charizard EX also has a massive HP stat of 330 HP, making it extremely difficult to one-hit KO. Charizard EX's attack is also a strong one. Although 180 damage seems weak at first, missing the 220 HP benchmark, Burning Darkness does deal 30 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. This gives Charizard damage output that ramps up as the game progresses. If your opponent has taken 5 of their prizes, Burning Darkness does 330 damage, enough to knock out the vast majority of Pokemon in the game, including opposing Charizard EX. Charizard EX also has a much better ability than its base set counterpart. When you evolve into Charizard EX, its Infernal Rain allows you to search your deck for up to 3 fire energies and attach them to your Pokemon in any way. This means that Charizard EX has energy acceleration not only for itself, but for other Pokemon that you have in play as well, whether it's another Charizard or any other Pokemon included in your deck. It also has a Dark typing, a benefit of the new Terastallization mechanic from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The Dark typing makes Charizard deal super effective damage against meta-relevant Pokemon such as Gardevoir EX and the World's 2023 winner Mew VMAX. Its weakness is Grass typing as well, which although usable, doesn't have any top meta decks at the moment. It's a much better weakness than Water, which is really common due to the Chien-Pao EX archetype being so popular right now. Overall, Paldea Evolved Charizard EX is a card that was designed to succeed, whereas base set Charizard was honestly just designed to look flashy. Personally, I'd take a competitively viable card over one meant to be showcased in my home any day of the week, but I'm also not a huge collector of cards in general. I'm honestly glad to see that Charizard cards have started to become more competitive recently, and I really hope that Pokemon 151's Charizard EX will also be a boon to the Charizard EX archetype, especially since it can give the deck a way of handling grass-type attackers. If you liked this video or found this discussion to be interesting, please feel free to give the video a like and comment whether or not you were one of the lucky owners of a base set Charizard card. Unfortunately, I can't say I was one of those lucky people. Don't forget to subscribe as well for future content. I'm starting to branch out from exclusively Mega Man Battle Network content, and Pokemon felt like the most natural direction for me to go towards. Lastly, consider following me on social media and follow my Twitch channel to see me stream a variety of games live. All of these will be linked in the description below. As of this video's upload, I'm currently finishing up my run of the Mega Man Battle Network series, or I'm on my first ever blind run of Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, it's one or the other. And as always, thanks for watching.